Hello there, Tristan Ogilvie right here alongside me, Cam Shea.
Woo! Hello.
And hello, we're here to talk about arcade games. Now don't check your watch or adjust your sets. It's not 1991 all of a sudden. Talking about Japanese arcade games. Yep. The magical land of Japan where arcade gaming is still very much a thing.
It's still a thing.
It's massive, it's
all
everywhere.
Over the place. They're actually all over the place.
And with TGS on the very near horizon, we thought we'd give a little primer on arcade gaming.
Yeah,
if
you're planning to go to Japan to head to TGS, you have to go check out the arcades.
Yeah.
And yeah, like if you're in Akihabara, obviously, Shinjuku, Shibuya, Takeronobaba. Did I get that right?
It sounded good.
Yeah, like I took a shot at it. I'm not going to do another take. Like all over Tokyo, actually, there's arcades, and they kind of vary from quite specialized, like some of the arcades in Akihabara are more focused on like retro shmups and like old school, like iconic 2D fighters and that kind of stuff. But the vast majority of them are kind of pretty broad, have a pretty broad appeal actually, and I think that's why. One of the reasons why they're still around. And
they're also like very easy to spot. I mean the big chains like Club Sega and what have you, they're massive multi-story buildings that kind of stick out. And yeah, as you say, a lot of the big chains are like full of all kinds of different arcade games. I mean, let's talk about some of them. Like, let's talk about the weird ones.
The weird ones?
Or should we not just jump straight in? I mean, you mentioned that there's classic fighting games and stuff that you'd expect. But there's, sorry, weird's the wrong word. Abnormal ones, certainly.
That's worse.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Freaky.
Japan.
Bizarre.
Well, let's go with unexpected.
Yeah.
I mean, for starters, there's a lot of gambling going on in these arcades, which may not.
Yeah, like gambling, like.
Not
really.
Sorry,
like it's less gambling than pachinko is, but it's still kind of this weird thing where you pay for a bucket of like these metal coins and you feed them into these machines with these. It's all very mechanical, and you're watching them kind of go around. They're coming off these shelves, and then you're getting more of them, and you're just trying to like get more of the coins, but then you just eventually lose them all, and it's odd.
Yeah. And not just that. I mean, the gambling extends to actual robot horse racing, miniature robot horse racing that you kind of gamble on and stuff.
But then it's a bit of a sliding scale, because then there's other horse racing games that have like stations set up and you've got like physical cards, and you can, you're not just kind of racing your horse, but you're rearing horses and stuff as well. I mean, obviously like some of this stuff is a bit impenetrable if you don't speak Japanese, which I don't, or if you're not there with like a local guide, so you kind of walk in and go, what is going on here? But that's part of the fun, obviously. But yeah, you have that kind of stuff. There's always like a flaw with medal games and the more gambly kind of games. But then like, the bottom floor will traditionally be like UFO catchers. There's, the average arcade would have like 5 or 6 floors, honestly. So there'll be one for UFO catchers, there'll be one for like Purikura, which is like picture club stuff.
Stickers and things.
Yeah, and many of them are like, if you're not with a female, you can't go into that floor. Obviously there's stuff that's happened there. You have a floor with fighting games, rhythm games, man. Rhythm games in Japan are still
going.
They're so huge, and there's like old staples like Dance Dance Revolution and Beat Mania and Guitar Freak and that kind of stuff. But then there's like newer school things like full body Kinect style, like motion sensing. These crazy like piano games. There's one game that has like 16 buttons in like a grid array. There's just so much interesting stuff. And then obviously taiko drumming and that kind of thing.
That's the only one I can play.
But you just see these savants at these games just doing these superhuman feats. But the good thing is, again, it kind of scales. You can hop on and do taiko drumming and it's fine. Or you can try something that's like way more hardcore. But yeah, rhythm games still so huge. There's even like, do you remember the iOS game Groove Coaster?
Boy, do I.
Yeah, that was a cool game though, right?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, yeah, that's in Japanese arcades now. And so you come across these surprising things like there's a Left 4 Dead game.
Oh, with the mouse and keyboard.
With the mouse and keyboard in an
Yeah,
arcade.
that's right.
There's like a Luigi's Mansion arcade game. There's Mario Kart. I mean, Mario Kart's been in Japanese arcades for a really long time. But there's just always something kind of exciting going on. And Japan, not only does each floor kind of have stuff for a different demographic, which means that you could take somebody there on a date, or you could hang out with your mates, or there's all these different ways to experience Japanese arcades. But there's also kind of the test kind of site stuff still going on as well.
Yep.
So certain arcades will be test locations for unreleased games where they're just fine-tuning balance and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So there's a bit of an exclusivity around arcades, and then there's still the spectacle-based ones where they're big cabinets and that kind of thing. It's an interesting scene, and so much of it is geared around versus stuff as well.
Yeah.
You have those back-to-back fighting machines, which are like so ever prevalent in Japan. But then they also have all these team-based arena mech action games and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to see a vibrant arcade scene somewhere, because we're in Sydney and
doesn't really exist
anymore, and hasn't for quite some time.
A while.
Yeah.
And also because it's such a, these people who go to the arcades go so regularly, they have their own system, like kind of a memory card system where it only supports certain games, I assume.
Yeah, there's a few of them, and they're kind of like there's a Namco one, and so it's kind of depending on the manufacturer of the games, but some of them are cross-compatible. You don't need kind of a handful if you're a regular arcade goer. I think back in the day they had games for individual cards for individual games, but now it's a bit broader than that. But yeah, it saves your progress and what you've unlocked and just stats and that kind of thing, which is pretty cool, because you can just hop in, tap the card, and away you go. You've got access to your characters and courses or whatever it might be.
Yeah, definitely the second coolest card in Japan outside of the Suica.
It's not even close though.
There you go, that was just a very brief look at the arcade scene in Japan. If you're heading to TGS this year, check it out. You're guaranteed to find something to suit your tastes.
I like to dance, so I'm rated for.
He was born for it. Thank you very much, Cam.
Thanks, Tristan.
For all things gaming, both in the home and in the arcade, stick right here, IGN.